to thank everyone for tuning in to the 25th Hour radio show here on AM 1150 and 98.5 FM WGGH. I am your host, Rob Fairless, and on the phone with me today is Dr. Garfield Bright. Now, Dr. Bright is a founding member of multi-platinum R&B vocal group Shai. Dr. Bright, thank you so much for taking time out of your Saturday to join me on the show.
Hey, man, thanks for having me on your show. Appreciate you.
No problem, man. So, Dr. Bright, let's start off the show like this. At what age did you and others around you, I guess, start realizing that you had this talent for singing?
Wow, for me, I started off singing just because, we didn't have, back in my younger days, we didn't have MP3s or any kind of devices where you can hear your favorite song if they didn't have it on the radio. So my best recourse was to just sing it for myself. So I would sing things on my own. And it was like when I was in high school, like people might walk past me, a girl or two or something, and make a comment, "Hey, you got a nice voice." Or the lady at the checkout counter where I'm waiting for her to ring my stuff up and hum in the tune. So I started hearing inklings of it, but I didn't quite believe it because my mom and dad never really said anything like that towards me. So I kind of didn't get it reinforced at home. Then when I got to college, I started getting that, you got a nice voice more and more and more. And it gave me it emboldened me, I guess, to go for it a little bit more. And Darnell being my roommate, one of the guys in Shai, and another guy being a music major, saxophone guy, Antonio Parker. So much music being around me, and the culture was such a musical culture that it just kind of created a window for me to just jump right through it and go more into exploring the nuances of what a singer would be, and that led me into Shai. So.
Yeah, now I know you ended up attending Howard University, but I also hear kind of through the grapevine that you were an above average athlete, man, and you had maybe some athletic scholarship offers to you from other colleges. What made you turn down those other colleges and end up choosing Howard?
Well, my high school, Brockton High School, Brockton, Massachusetts, home of the boxers, big up, boxers stand up, the home of Marvin Hagler, Rocky Marciano, rest in power, you guys. But yeah, it was a tradition of athletes there. I was kind of a transplant, but it was a huge high school, 6,000 students, about maybe 130 or 40 students try out for the basketball team. It's only going to be 12 positions available. So you really got to dig and work to make the team, let alone be good on the team. On our team, I think my senior year, we were ranked 22nd or something like that in the nation. So we pretty big competition and a lot of, moxie for the school. And I made the squad. I played, I was proud to call myself one of the starters and stuff like that. So yeah, I grew up playing basketball, football, baseball, running track and stuff like that. Now, the only reason I didn't play for Howard is because, one, I didn't get a scholarship offer, but I really had my heart set on going to Howard, despite what they were going to offer me. I wanted to be there. And, when I got there, I tried to walk on, but I didn't know what the requisite the requirements were before walking on the team. So I didn't know you had to have a drug test before walking on the team. I thought you just showed up, walked on, and tried out rather. And if they liked you, then you go through the rigors of all the stuff. But you had to produce this white card before you walked on the floor. And I had been playing with these guys all summer long, holding my own. And I got to the tryout, which was 5 a.m. The sun wasn't even out yet. And in the blackness of night, crawling out your bed, wiping the crust off your eyelids, getting there, ready to ball. And the dude was like, "Where's your card?" And I was like, "What card?" He's like, your white, what you call a card? I was like, "Nah, I don't have that." He's like, "Oh, you can't try out." I was crushed. I was like, "What? I can't try out?" And I sat there and watched 3 kids that I had been balling with all summer, beating all summer. 2 of them made it, rather. And I knew I was better than those 2 dudes, but yeah, that was Shai happened at Howard, so I can't be too mad at that experience. But yeah, I played, basketball was probably my best sport,
Yeah, man, I got you. So how did Shai end up being formed? It's all buddies from Howard, right?
Yeah, we met at various points in our kind of coming of age story, if you will, at Howard. I came in as a freshman, and Darnell Van Rensselaer from Patterson, New Jersey, he was my freshman roommate. We both were 17 years old and instantly bonded, became tight. And then sophomore year, we moved to different dorms, had different roommates, but we had already established a friendship. And then his trajectory went a little bit different than mine. He became a part of the Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity, community of the Greek community. And I went more like a student activist route. I ran for student government, all these types of things, put us on a separate trajectory for a minute. But then it brought us back together. And then when we started hanging back out together, he had formed friendships with the other two members of the group that were also fraternity members. And he had formed that alliance with them already through the fraternity. And my reconnecting with my, freshman roommate brought me into contact with those three in preparation for this big talent show at Howard University that was treated like the Apollo by the student body. I mean, they went there, it was chaos. They would boo people. It was really intense. You had to be on your AA game. And then we went there and, we actually were probably the only group who didn't get booed. And mind you, everybody up there who performed was high caliber. And the booing was primarily not because they were bad at performing, which none of them were. It was because the New York crowd that was there trying to recreate the Apollo just wanted to have something fun to do.
I got you, yeah.
But we shined and we got an encore with those rowdy people, that rowdy crowd, and that kind of gave us confidence to go out and try to get a record deal. And in our naivety, we thought we should just be, signed, and we did get signed. And when we look back on it, we like, holy cow, man! Like, really, how in the world did we actually do what we just did? Because we saw how much really went into it in hindsight. So yeah, it was a blessing. But that's how Shai came to be. That's how we met at Howard University and stuff like that.
So when you got your record deal, man, who was the first person you called to tell the good news?
Man, when I first got my deal, wow, I think I called my father, and then my mom, of course.
I guess they were always supportive of your musical side, your musical talents, right?
Yeah, well, it was kind of like I said, I didn't grow up in the gospel choir or anything like that. I didn't grow up really performing at talent shows, doing that. Like, if anything, I was a popper, a break dancer. I used to pop and do that kind of stuff. And so I had talent in that way. We used to win talent shows, my little crew. But I never really, was on stage singing. So it was kind of like when I was in college, all of a sudden telling my parents, look, I'm in this singing group and we got a song, Mom. I'm telling you, Mom, this song is crazy. We're going to get a record deal. And her being, a grown woman who hears this idealistic kind of like spiel coming from this young college kid who happens to be her son, telling her of some song that's going to hit and be number one. I mean, how idealistic can you be, right? So the parent is like, look, just make sure you get your education. You know what I'm saying? That's what my mom was enforcing. But I was one of those rare cases where that little spiel actually had substance to it, and it panned out and it became, in a lot of luck. And it panned out and became, it fluid. And so we really did get the record deal. But my mom, when she saw that it was real and that we really, really, really was signed to a major label, MCA, and it was, an actual thing. And it was a detour from what my trajectory was as this college track type kid, but it was definitely a career move. And I was young enough. She was basically like, roll with it. You know what I mean? This is a once in a lifetime type of thing. And obviously you guys are good at it. So, she even loved the song and stuff. So, it kind of came as a shock to them. It wasn't like this automatic kind of thing where the kid grows up singing and everybody knows, look, he's going to definitely be, that wasn't me. I just kind of was a late bloomer and, fell into a situation. And next thing you know, we on stage at Arsenio and Jay Leno and, singing our songs, the ones that we wrote.
Awesome, man. Now, did it take a while for you and the guys to kind of like adjust to being out on the road so much, at least in the very beginning of your success?
Oh, yeah, it was, because you never know what to expect. There's no blueprint. Well, there is, but usually people that are outside of the circle of those connected in the music industry won't know the rigors, of it unless they know somebody in it, and then that'll make them connected. But usually an outside perspective doesn't take in consideration what goes on behind the scenes. And so, sure, the shows were hilariously fun and funny and just enjoyable. But then after the show, there's an after party you have to go to usually because the execs kind of arrange it, and there's networking to be done. Plus there's posturing to be done for your brand and this, that, and the fourth and the third. And sometimes you get paid for it. So then you go, after that it's 2 a.m, 6 in the morning, you got to be at some radio station in some other city. So that means that the tour bus you would have rolled on from like 1 to 2 in the morning to like 5 with that 3 hours of sleep popping up, throwing something on real quick to run inside this building to be at the radio station at 6 in the morning. They're going to ask you to sing, you know, as if it was like daytime, noon. They're going to ask you to sing 2 of your songs. You just woke up from 3 hours of sleep from the last show and after party. You got to produce quality sing song notes and stuff for your brand. Make sure you don't sound crazy, but they fully expect your morning show performance. You can't say nah, because that's not part of the deal. They want to hear it. You got to do it, produce it. Then around 10, you go eat brunch or something with some contest winners. Then around 11, 12, or 1, you have a sound check. To about 4 or 5, you get a few moments to yourself, maybe from like 5 to like 6 or 7, you eat. Then you at the venue, and it's time to perform. You backstage at that time, and then you start it all over again for however many cities. That same thing over and over and over and over. So you get worn out, and then in between there, like sometimes the tour bus drives cross country, and you have a couple of shows where you have to literally fly cross country. So that jet lag that gets kind of like thrown into the equation from constantly going to sleep and waking up at these odd hours and performing and being on, and your voice, you know, getting hoarse from singing that early, and then the air conditioner in certain cars that people blasting the air conditioners affecting, you know, all those different things, let alone the different attitudes, all the different people you have to go through in a day, regarding, you know, what you do, all the different hands you pass through. You got to make sure, you know, you bring in a good vibe to get a good vibe. There's just so many different nuances that you never factor in that underlie the fun aspect of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, man, I just don't think people realize it's actual work. It's not all fun.
Yeah, sure.
Now, so, man, I know you have your PhD, man, and congratulations on that. It's a huge achievement.
Thank you.
Did your musical success ever interfere with your educational goals?
Not at all. As a matter of fact, my dissertation kind of like zipped up both of those halves of myself. So instead of looking at it as an either or, like in a binary context, you know, I looked at it as being a both and. Both of those trajectories existed inside of me, so they should both be honored and have equal space to kind of be projected from me. Otherwise, I'd be bitter and shrivel up and be a evil old man because I didn't let part of myself through it. So I took a both and approach. And so, you know, Shai, I did my Shai stuff. I was on the Tom Joyner Morning Cruise, didn't have to perform, but I was writing my master's. I was doing chapter 4 of my master's thesis while I was in the cabin. So I was always just doing both because they were both in me. And like a lot of my content deals with how Black men or artists or students navigate inequitable power spaces. And I like to look at the music industry and the classroom as the two venues for that concept. And both of those spaces are spaces that I inhabit personally. You know, I'm a student, or I've been a student for most of my life, haven't just got my PhD. And I'm definitely in the music industry as a Black male artist navigating a white controlled, white owned music industry in terms of the labels and the distribution. And so to do research on that population is like looking at a mirror of myself through these other people vicariously. So, you know, I made sure that it wasn't an either or. Like, you know, even in my academic movement, matriculation, I always put it in the context of my specific real life, and vice versa on the other side. No matter what I do, I always kept it an intellectual move, a curiosity move, you know. So music is an intellectual endeavor as well as a spiritual one. So there's a sense of academic prowess to a gifted writer, of how people look at it, you know, look at the end game, look at the middle, building something, making it crescendo, making sure the plot fits. There's internal cohesiveness and stuff like that. The same you would do when you're looking at research projects and stuff. So there's overlap and there's symmetry in both. And, you know, because both of them are based on a product coming out on the other side. And it's probably sparked by creativity, inspiration, both of them, knowledge and music. So they're really not too separate, as a matter of fact. So yeah, it's not that hard to do both.
So let's talk about the present, man. You and the guys from Shai are out on tour again, I think, this year. I think you'll be a part of the 90s R&B concert here shortly. How's it feel to be back touring again?
Yeah, you know, it feels good, actually. You know, of course, always good to be able to, you know, make a living. That's something that you love to do, you know, and kind of overcome the impediment we've kind of been presented with in the COVID thing. But we've always been touring. And this particular guy though, Young Fly Entertainment though, he's been a consistent person probably for the last maybe like 8 years, 7 years. We've been doing a lot of shows with this person, and he's been getting all the different '90s groups and making just different packages and going through different cities and bringing us all on at different points in time. It's been a really cool thing. He deserves a lot of credit for getting us out there and keeping us out there. And so and it's been fun reconnecting with all the people from back in the day and different points. But we've never stopped and stuff like that, except for the COVID year, 2020. But it feels good, yeah, for this year to finally get it back kind of almost like full steam ahead like it used to be a little bit. We got a lot of dates lined up, so it's feeling pretty good.
So do you guys have any new music on the horizon, or are you pretty content with the catalog of music you have under your belts right now?
Man, man, I've been doing a lot of music lately, ever since I learned Pro Tools over this COVID thing. So Darnell and myself, we're getting to do a Darnell and Garfield project called the D&G project. But myself personally, that's just me. I'm doing a solo project at the same time, and it's pretty interesting. It's the whole album is going to be a cappella, including like the tracks, the instruments, the trumpets, the bass lines. I'm gonna perform all of those with my mouth and create a song track, and then I'm going to sing a song on top of that track. So the whole thing is going to be a cappella, but in that kind of a way. And I just got through doing a Bill Withers cover, "Lovely Day," in that format, and it's coming out pretty good. I'm excited to hear, what it's gonna sound like when I finish it. But the album is gonna, be called Off Track because it's not gonna be any, tracks to it, no musical tracks except for the acapella stuff I create. And it's also me kind of leaving the group context, doing something solo with the blessing of the group, of course. But yeah, so yeah, we got a couple of things to look forward to. Hopefully by early next year or late this, fall before everything shuts down.
Awesome,
so, yeah,
man.
Working on some stuff. Yeah, man, for sure. I just did a book called Lotus 3013. It's been 10 years in the making. I had to wait till I finished my dissertation and stuff to finally get it out. But it's basically, if you can picture, for the old heads out there, it's a combination between like Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, and Beat Street, if you can picture that. And hip hop in the year 3013 is believed to be a white cultural product. And there's forces of good and evil involved in it, but it's really a sociological piece. It's a dystopian, like futuristic, Afrofuturistic piece. Real interesting how the plot unfolds. But I have that book out. Everything is done with the audiobook now, so I'm gonna have an ebook and audiobook out real soon. If you come to my Instagram page at the Garfield Wright Experience, you'll be able to keep tabs on the release. But it should be out hopefully early September.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So,
yeah.
So what about, you just mentioned your Instagram page? What about other social media or websites? Do you have a preferred platform that you want people to find you on?
Well, just me for my personal self is that one, the Garfield Bright Experience, and that's on Instagram and Facebook. But then Shai, the group platform is Shiroglyphics, SHAI like Shai, and then Roglyphics, ROGLYPHICS, Shiroglyphics. Put that together, and that's the IG and Facebook as well. And so those are two places that you can get in touch with either the whole group, or if somebody just wants to reach out to me, just come to my page.
So before we start to wrap things up here, is there anything you'd like to mention to the listeners out there that maybe I didn't touch on?
Just for people that are culture creators and content creators, just make sure you're coming from a real place, making this, in the kind of way that even if it wasn't a money involved, a record involved, the way that you would be making it, make it that way. And then put that kind of stuff in the marketplace, as opposed to just doing it the other way around. So we won't get no watered down version of your gift. And everybody just be themselves in all spaces, man. Just stay, try to really keep yourself from being swayed by too much trendiness, of thought. Kind of create your standards and rest on that. And penetrate, navigate the terrain with that, in your holster. And that's it. That's pretty much it.
Well, Dr. Bright, Garfield, it's been awesome having you on the show today. I've always been a huge fan of your music, Shai's music. It's definitely been a huge part of the soundtrack, man, to my life.
Appreciate that, man.
It's been,
Appreciate that,
man. Thank you. It's been an honor speaking with you today, man. Thanks again for doing this.
Thank you for having me, and thank everybody out there in the listening audience for taking time out and checking us out. And keep it locked.